Okay, well, my current title is Professor of Work-Based Learning at the University of Derby, and for the last 8 years I've been very heavily involved in work-based learning for students, for learners who wouldn't normally think about accessing higher education. And the higher education that we've been developing at Derby since 2001 has been focused on the individual in their workplace, developing things that are a benefit to the business, a benefit to themselves personally, and which can be recognised by the university as worthy of a qualification and award. For the UK to be globally competitive, we need to have a minimum of 40% of our workforce, and preferably 45%, educated at least to level 4. Current figures are saying 29%, something like that. And that was to be globally competitive before the downturn. So it seems to me that the economic imperatives, the comparatives for global competitiveness, actually translate to saying we need to get more people involved in higher education, and not just 18-year-olds coming forward, but people who are in the workplace, who have skills, who have status and position, expertise that they've developed through work. We need to be helping them to turn that tacit or silent professional understanding into something that's of benefit for the company and can get them some personal recognition. Learning, for me, and higher level learning, doesn't just take place in a university classroom. There's higher level learning happening all over the place. And my passion, I suppose, although I'm a bit wary of using the word, for the last 8-10 years has been to get people to begin to seek out, articulate and develop the higher level skills and knowledge that they have in their workplace, to recognise that legitimate high status knowledge doesn't just happen in this classroom or the one next door or anywhere else, or just in the university, but it happens in the workplace and outside in the community. And I think it's very important that we try and capture and expand and build that rich resource that's out there. I mean, I think the stereotype of the lecture room in tiered seating with a man, it's usually a man, isn't it, at the front saying clever things, that's not the norm for most students in higher education these days. There's a focus on the application of their knowledge, there's a focus on preparing themselves for employability, of beginning to develop the skills, those what are sometimes called soft skills, but which are very important, which employers value. The idea of working in a team, being able to take independent action in a dynamic and evolving situation, and all those kind of things which people pick up at work, and which are exactly the sort of things that fit in with higher education. Higher education is a transformative experience. It's not like training. It's not like being taught to drive. It actually will change you as a person, because you'll think more, you'll analyse, you'll evaluate, you'll critique, you'll have a sharper view on the things that you're looking at, and that for me can only be beneficial to not only to you but to the company that you're working for. If you're applying your learning abilities to situations at work, that can only be good. I mean, I think we're at a stage now where online learning is taking off big time, and by that I don't mean that you sit down on your own in front of a computer and do a course, because I think that there's quite a bit of research that would suggest that not everybody likes that. Some people do, that's fine. But I think what we would be looking to develop with individuals, with companies as well, would be a blend of learning. Now that doesn't mean you can come on Wednesday, you can come on Friday, you can have it Saturday morning or through the week, but actually a blend of learning where you have some say in what it is you learn, you have some say in how it's going to affect your life and how you want it to support you in those ways, about when you can access that learning, about when you can access support. And I prefer to see e-learning as a support for learners rather than the sum total of what they get. I think blended learning is much more than just a blend of delivery methods. I don't really like the idea of delivery. I think that's like a bottle of milk. And learning and education and development is about you as a person. It's not just somebody tipping a bit of management skills down your head. It doesn't work like that. So I think the blend should be a blend of what it is you want to learn, how you want to access it, the time you want to do it. And if that does sound a bit like the old Martini advert, that shows my age, doesn't it? Any time, any place, anywhere. It doesn't mean that that your tutors have got to be waiting on the end of a phone for you to ring up at any time, but that there should be support, which may be online, which may be asynchronous, which somebody may pick up later, in the same way that you would emails. You know, the concept of the email as a tutorial device, I think, is a really interesting one. And I've done some quite interesting research looking at learner-tutor online dialogue, and it's amazingly rich, both at undergraduate and at postgraduate levels. I've looked at that right the way across the undergraduate and postgraduate spectrum, and very rich tutorial things can happen online. People they've got lives and a job and an existence outside the classroom, and to be able to access it at a time that suits them, I think is very important. That it's not tied to a weekly attendance at Tuesday at 3:00, which, let's face it, none of us can do. Really nice example I was reading only yesterday. Someone who said he took his car for a service and blagged the use of the PC in the corner and did some work on his marketing module while he was waiting for his car to be serviced, which is an interesting idea. I think I'd want to say that higher education is higher education. All the stuff that we do, all the stuff that we would want to encourage people to do, will be bounded by the Quality Assurance Agency framework for higher education qualifications. It's not something that is going to be essentially different from the skills and qualities that a full-time undergraduate will bring to bear. An interest in learning, an ability to analyse, to critique, to evaluate and to decide routes forward, to make decisions based on good inquiry and research, not to just dream things up, but to check your sources, to look at what other people are saying, to contextualise, to think about application. It's the kind of things that any higher education student, learner, participant, I don't know, I prefer learner myself. It's the same kind of things that you would look for from anybody. Anyone who is interested in ideas, in processes, in procedures, in doing better at work, in finding out something new. Higher education's for all. Yes, I've had people graduate that I've never met, and yet I felt I knew them really well through the online tutorial, the email tutorial, and that kind of thing. That's an exception. But I can't think of any of our learners who come on a very, very regular basis. They'll come to meet tutors intermittently. They'll come for a focus group, and they've been supported online and through online materials with these periodic group meetings where they've got to know each other. And I know that they talk to one another by email, so that there's a group that's kind of set itself up to communicate in these ways, and they don't need to meet every week. I think they've only met each other when they've been here, but they are still a group of learners. Don't sell yourself short. Why aren't you, you're not daft out there, so don't sell yourself short and say higher education's not for me. If you've got an inquiring mind, if you're interested in how things work, making things better, changing things, doing things for yourself and for your employer, have a go. That's the first message. But I would think you will find almost any of the colleges or universities that are involved in this will be only too pleased to talk to you. There's a whole range of ways of beginning to access higher education that can be tailored specifically to your requirements, I think.